Now the whole world had one language and a common speech. As people moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They used brick instead of stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth." But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. The Lord said, "If as one people, speaking the same language, they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other." So the Lord scattered them from there all over all the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From there the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. Yeah, they had one language and a common speech, and they wanted to make a name for themselves. One language and one speech. Not only did they speak the same language, but they said the same things. They all had the same ideas, And they all came from the east together, these pioneers of the human race from the post-flood settlements. And they congregated in Shinar. They found this plain, and they decided to undertake this huge project to make a name for themselves. And Nimrod, he was the top dog in all of this, a ruthless ruler, the 1%. Probably got all the other 1%ers together, called a meeting, decided to build this tower. And so what happened? They made bricks. Well, not Nimrod and the other 1%ers, slaves, working class. They made the bricks, right? And they used brick, not stone, right? Stones are made by God. Bricks made by man. This was a construct. Meanwhile, Nimrod and the other CEOs, they had board meetings, they made plans, handed down orders. The Godhead said, "Let's go check this out." So they came down for a visit, and they saw these people working, communicating together to build this thing, to make a name for themselves. They already had a name, likeness of God. Anyway, they were doing it, but they were working out of fear. Someone at the boardroom table said, "If we don't do this thing, we will get scattered." It's probably what they told everybody. That's what happened in the end anyway. They were scattered, and their languages were confounded. And so they made countries, each of which has sovereignty over everything inside its own borders. This was God's design for mankind. You know, the power brokers of today use that same tactic. They instill fear. They want you to believe that food needs to be controlled and distributed by the experts, or else there would be more hunger. Fear is their tool. But in defying God's plan for his world, they failed in alleviating the hunger problem they claim to be solving with their construct. And now, in the 21st century, here we have it, the sprawling network called the global food system. It's a regime that is a construct of a group of multinational corporations whose main goal is to operate a system that controls all the food in the world, the seed, the crops and the farms, the processing and the distribution, the supermarkets, everything. All constructed to make a name for themselves. Global Shinar. The common language, profits. The common speech, consolidation for control. Who controls the food, controls the world. This is not God's will. This system robs nations of their food sovereignty, and it is responsible for the global diabetes pandemic. But how did this happen? How does it work? Do you support this system? Inadvertently? Are you also a victim of it? Food justice, the global food system, and the diabetes pandemic are all topics I'd love to come and speak to you about. Go to reallynourished.com to book me as a speaker at your next event, and while you're there, check out my book list, Empower Yourself with Knowledge. Also, please click the link below and suggest me as a speaker at TEDx Port of Spain. Give me a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click the bell so you could get updates as soon as I drop my new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, don't just eat, really nourish yourselves.